margins. Based on interactions, plate margins are of 3 types. I'll finally draw the diagram so that you will get which and all is your convergence, the divergence and all. Right? So based on the interaction, plate margins are classified into 3 types. Primarily classified into 3 types. Okay. The first one is converging plate margin. Second one, diverging plate margin. And third one, transform plate margin. So converging plate margin, diverging plate margin, and transform plate margin. Done. So we'll make a comparison. We'll study each individually and their importance, what is happening there, what causes the interaction, what is the outcome of the interaction. So criteria in how these plates behave along the margin based on the interaction. Now, we will interact and the plate margins are divide. Okay, so I will make a comparison between all 3. Okay, so first one, convergent plate margin. Okay, convergent plate margin. Second one is your divergent plate margin. And what is the third one? Third one is your transform plate margin. Okay, so convergent plate margin is where the 2 plates collide with one another. Okay, rendu plate convergence na convergent force, compressional force. But what is happening? Interaction or the first point and when 2 plates collide with one another. So rendu vishayam collide agudhu appadina obviously enna nadakum? As a result of collision, definitely this particular will have damages or deformations. So this is where the crust is destroyed. So the crust is destroyed along your convergent plate margin. Why? Collision illa collide abdinale adu destruction la dhaan poi mudiyum. So the crust is destroyed. Since the crust is destroyed, convergent plate margin is also known as destructive plate margin. Destructive plate margin. Or consuming plate margin. Right? So coming back to divergence. Divergence na penna irukum. Divergence na when two plates move away from one another. Move away na diverge. So when 2 plates move away from one another, that particular plate margin is identified as divergence plate margins. So since we talked about the sea floor spreading, crust வந்து diverge ஆகுது அப்படின்னா the ascending convective current are easy to flow out. அப்ப என்ன நடக்கும்? இது உள்ள இருக்கும்போது molten stateல இருக்கும், வெளில வரும்போது it will solidify and form a part of your crust. அப்ப new crust is created in your divergent plates. Okay, அப்போ இங்க crust is destroyed அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது divergent plate margin is characterized by creation of new crust. Creation of new crust. Since crust is created, similar to how crust is destroyed, we called this as destructive plate margins. இது என்ன எப்படி அட்ரஸ் பண்ணலாம்? This is known as constructive plate margin. Constructive plate margin or accreting plate margin. Constructive plate margin or accretive plate margin. What about transform? Transform அப்படிங்கிறது when two plates move past one another without collision, that is sliding across one another. அதாவது in case of constructive plate margin, that is the plates are diverging, இல்லையா? Diverge ஆகிறது. Destructive plate margin என்ன நடந்தது? When two plates are collided, converge ஆகிறது. இது ரெண்டுமே இல்லாம ரெண்டு plates they are moving along side by side. So there is neither collision nor divergence. ரெண்டு பிளேட்டுமே இப்படி side by side மூவ் ஆகுது, sliding over. It can be either in same direction, different rateல ஒரே directionல போலாம், இல்லனா different rateல different directionsல மூவ் ஆகலாம். What is happening? There is neither collision nor divergence. அப்போ collision நடந்தா destruction, divergence நடந்தா creation. இங்க அப்ப என்ன நடக்குது? ரெண்டுமே இல்ல, இல்லையா? ஒரு பிளேட்டும் இன்னொரு பிளேட்டும் சும்மா சைடுல or sliding over one another, right? So what is happening here? The crust is neither created nor destroyed. Crust is neither created nor destroyed. So how do we call them? We call this as destructive, we call this as constructive. And how do we address transform plate margin then? It is known as conservative. Neither created nor destroyed ங்கிறது எனர்ஜிக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம் இல்லையா? Energy can be neither created nor destroyed, it can be transferred from one form to another, that is energy conservation is happening. Similarly here the crust is conserved. So this is known as conservative plate margin. Conservative plate margin or shear plate margin, SHEAR, shear plate margin. So basic definition and their interaction. Very simple. So crust is destroyed, crust is created. Here the crust is conserved. It is neither created nor destroyed. C4 spreading la nama paathom. Destruction is happening along which phase? Destruction is happening along the trenches, இல்லையா? Whereas construction enga nadakudhu? Construction is formed along the ocean floor in the form of ridges. Up next, when we compare these two, we're going to look into the observable outcome. ஒரு அப்போ ஒரு பிளேட் பவுண்டரி, அது கன்சர்வேட்டிவ் பிளேட் பவுண்டரி இல்ல டைவர்ஜென்ட் பிளேட் மார்ஜின் இல்ல கன்வர்ஜென்ஸ்ங்கிறது எப்படி ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணுவோம்? அங்க இருக்கக்கூடிய லேண்ட் ஃபார்மை வச்சுதான், ரைட்டா? அப்போ என்னோட கம்பேரிசன்ல அடுத்து நம்ம பார்க்க போறது எந்த மாதிரியான லேண்ட் ஃபார்ம். கண்டிப்பா பிளேட் மூவ்மெண்ட்னாலே என்ன கிரியேட் ஆயிருக்கும்? அந்த ரீஜன்ல எர்த்குவேக்ஸ் கிரியேட் ஆயிருக்கும். மேக்மா அப்வெல்லிங் Okay, so magma upwelling சொல்லும்போது the nature of volcanicity. So இந்த மூணு தான் அடுத்த criteria. இது basic definition, அதோட interaction principle. So first we will look into divergence because we are much familiar with the sea flow spreading mechanism. Okay, இது basic comparison எடுத்துக்கங்க.